So hey there, everybody. This is just kind of a bit of a ramble on the eve of the election, I suppose. I wrote at least two videos about the election, and I really wanted to make them, but I guess I was basically just too much of a pussy because I'll tell you, like the angry people and the bullies of this election have not been Trump supporters. Like, nobody's scared to support Hillary. And I think you're probably going to see that in a big way today in the election, and like how many people really do support Trump. What I really want to say is, well, I want to take you back maybe a few years. So I used to be a legal observer for the National Lawyers Guild, who are arguably a front group for the communists in America, but whatever. They were good people, and at the time they were fighting the banks. You know, not my favorite people. So I was a big part of Occupy Wall Street. I devoted a lot of my time in law school to helping those people. I saved some people from jail and helped organize events about the national security state and all this kind of stuff. And I imagine all the people that I was fighting with at that time are probably Bernie Sanders supporters. You know, I don't personally agree with the socialist stuff, but I'd rather have him than Hillary Clinton. I think almost anybody could agree with that. But all of these people, like, who rallied around Bernie Sanders, he was for the normal people fighting for against the banks, like I was, you know, whatever, 4 or 5 years ago or whatever, whenever Occupy Wall Street. By the way, the biggest Occupy movement in the entire country, in Portland, Oregon, is where I was basically set up. Anyways, all of these people fought the banks, and now that Hillary Clinton rigged the election against Sanders openly and screwed him, all of those people are, all of you who supported fighting the banks, who supported Sanders, or a lot of you, and many other people who didn't openly or directly support Sanders, but who aren't necessarily fans of the banks or the bailouts or whatever. The media just blows in a dog whistle called racism or misogynist, and you're like, you don't care anymore. Like, Hillary Clinton is the Wall Street candidate. She's the war candidate. She gets millions and millions of dollars from these people. She's incredibly corrupt, and you all know it in your heart. Like, you can try to deny it, but you know it's a bunch of bullshit, and she's a liar. She's taken millions of dollars from foreign governments and corporations through the Clinton Foundation in order to launder the money. And, I mean, we know that she took $1 million from Qatar on Bill Clinton's birthday, and it wasn't even reported. But, you know, like, the thing about Clinton now is, like, you could name all the horrible things that she's done for hours, and I feel like you would never stop talking if you started, and it appears that it doesn't matter. But I wanted to just kind of remind you, especially those of you who really had like a bone to pick with the establishment or the banks or the wars. Donald Trump isn't for war. He said we should be friends with Russia. We should get out of the Middle East. That's good. That saves lives. Isn't that important? Like, the banks don't like him. Which of the banks are giving Donald Trump money? Who in the military-industrial complex is giving Donald Trump money? Nobody. And all of you Occupy people, do you remember how the media treated you when the government decided they didn't want you around anymore? Every outlet said that you were a bunch of whiny iPad-wielding babies and that nothing you had to say mattered. And the exact same thing is being done to Donald Trump, but you're like, at the drop of a hat, you're willing to believe it as long as like you can feel like you're a part of the tribe, I guess. Like, I don't love Donald Trump as a guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's probably pretty smart, but he's not really into the same kind of things as me. I think he's gaudy, and I wouldn't personally make the same kind of choices as him, but he's anti-globalism. And if you don't know that that's what this election is about, you might want to look into that before you vote. It's nationalism versus globalism, and if you're sick of people like George Soros and foreign governments trying to basically destroy the sovereignty of America and create the one world government, which they're clearly trying to do, and it's like all out in the open. And I tell you, like, this is the year that Alex Jones was proven so right. And like, I spent years kind of like up and down with him. Like, sometimes I do it and then like it's just too much, And I was like, there's no way it could be that bad. I was walking, actually my friend Christian visited me in Portland while I was in law school, and I was really political, and I was really into the watching the Alex Jones stuff, and like he was like, what's the null hypothesis for you're saying that like a bunch of weirdo Satanist people are running this conspiracy? Well, I took that to heart, and I was like, man, maybe I'm getting too far into this shit. Like, this is a little crazy. And then in John Podesta's emails, he's getting invited to this like satanic ritual where they like eat effigies of human beings and mix shit, blood, and semen together, and then paint weirdo sadomasochistic messages on the walls. And it's not funny at all, because these people are hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, and you can look at his creepy pedo temple on his private island, and you can see how money can really buy your way out of having a bunch of sex slaves on a private island. If you look into his case, and how Bill Clinton went there 20-something times, and Hillary Clinton went there 6 times, they're all involved in this shit, and it's like, it sounds crazy, and I think that's how they manage to hide it, is because it's so unbelievable that like if I were like, hey man, hey young lady, are you free this weekend? And you're like, yeah, I got some time. And you're like, do you want to get together at a secluded farm and cut up an effigy of a body and eat the body parts, and then mix pig's blood and semen together and write masochistic satanic messages on a wall and pretend that we're begging for power from the Dark Lord? And like, I would say no if I were you in that circumstance. I don't know about you, like, in fact, anybody who is really directly connected to that, like if your campaign manager is caught doing it, I'd probably not really want to be involved with you. And I guess this is the kind of thing where like I can say it, and it seems like people don't, it's like in one ear and out, like they don't believe it, but it's like now it's literally like right in front of you, like you can just read about it. There's no denying that what spirit cooking is and who was given the invitations. This is not normal behavior, and the sad thing is like I'm sure it's so much worse than like what we know. Anyways, I mean, like I said, you could talk about the horrible things about Clinton forever, but I guess people don't care. I'm like pleading with you to care. You think that you're like fighting the man by fighting Trump, but everybody that you hated for years, most likely, if you're one of my friends, I mean, unless you're one of the Obama's a good guy kind of people, which I don't have anything to say to you really, but a lot of you guys have been pretty anti-establishment, and you're really wanted to change things, and the idea of voting for Hillary Clinton because you want a change. She is everything that you hate. She is corruption. She is probably a murderer if you look into people like Vince Foster. She is Wall Street. She is the military-industrial complex. She's never seen a war that she doesn't like, or that she doesn't like you to fight, because she's not gonna go. They're not gonna go. So that was my rant. This is, it's almost midnight here in Japan, and I didn't want to go to bed saying to myself that I was too cowardly to ever say anything. I've been too cowardly. I've been a pussy for months because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to come out and deal with the kind of abuse that you get if you hold any beliefs that are contrary to the leftist propaganda machine. But it's probably too little too late, but for what it's worth, to the dozen or so people who will watch this, don't vote for Hillary Clinton. Maybe don't even vote for Donald Trump if you don't want to, but are you really gonna put in a vote for a satanic witch? And not joking. Not even joking. It's a crazy world we live in. And we're going to see how crazy it gets. Oh, finally, if you're in America, be safe. I don't know, you shouldn't be totally sure what's going to happen. If Trump wins, they might, shut down the internet, or who knows what they might do if they're in a panic, because they're not planning to lose. And these are very wealthy and powerful people, so, be safe. Maybe think of a place that you can go if things start getting out of hand. No matter who you are, I don't care if you're my political enemy, but be careful, because things could get unpredictable, and you should at least prepare for that contingency. So, be careful, prepare, be wise, be safe. Peace.